Diablo 4 Season 1 introduced new gem-like items called Caged Hearts, which give players some pretty great passive powers. But one type of Caged Heart is above the rest, the Wrathful Caged Hearts. Not only can Wrathful Caged Hearts be placed into any color slot, they are also the most rare and powerful. In this guide, we will discuss how to farm Wrathful Caged Hearts with a 100% drop rate in Diablo 4 Season of the Malignant. How does one farm these Wrathful Hearts in Diablo 4 Season 1? Well, there is one major prerequisite that you will have to complete in order to utilize this farming method. You'll need to get to the final quest of the brand new Burning from Within questline. Once you have reached the quest called the Cold Hard Truth, you'll gain access to the Velkova Church Undercroft dungeon. Cormond will ask you to enter the dungeon with him, and this is where you'll come face to face with Varshan the Consumed. If you have already completed the main Burning from Within questline, you will not be able to utilize this farm unless you create a new character and get to this final dungeon quest, or have a friend who has not yet completed the questline. The Velkova Church Undercroft dungeon is found north of Kyovashad within the Fractured Peaks. When you first enter the dungeon, you will come across the same types of enemies that you would in a regular Malignant tunnel. Kill all of the enemies leading up to a room that contains a Malignant growth spawning out of the floor. This is the entrance of Varshan's room, where you will need to complete the entire ritual Cormond tasks you with. Once the ritual is complete, Varshan will spawn in and begin attacking you. Once you have defeated Varshan, he will drop a Malignant Heart. Collecting a Malignant Heart will normally spawn a second rendition of the boss. This one, however, will simply throw out all of the loot from Varshan. There will be one Wrathful Heart and one Invoker of Varshan that drops 100% of the time, alongside other items such as gear and potions. The Wrathful Hearts will have the same name every time they drop, Varshan's Heart, but the attributes can vary. Now, this is where you do not turn in the final quest to Cormond. Instead, you immediately teleport out of the dungeon, reset it using the map's built-in Reset Dungeon tool once you are outside of the Undercroft, and re-enter the dungeon once again. You can seemingly do this as many times as you want, meaning you'll have an endless supply of Wrathful Hearts to collect, as well as these Invokers of Varshan. So what exactly do you do with these Invokers of Varshan that are dropped? The Invoker of Varshan will drop every time you kill him alongside these Wrathful Hearts, and will be found inside of your Consumables tab in your player's inventory. These can be used behind the sealed doors inside of a few of the regular Malignant tunnels around the map. One of these sealed doors is located within the Boiling Wound Malignant tunnel, found on the east side of the Fractured Peaks. To open these doors, you will either have to have a character who has fully completed the questline, or a friend who has already completed the entire questline. Once inside, you will use the Invoker of Varshan to summon an Echo of Varshan, who once killed will drop a random type of Caged Heart, not always a Wrathful, and potentially a recipe for the Foul Invoker of Varshan. The Foul Invoker of Varshan can be used in the same way as the original Invoker of Varshan once you craft it, but it will spawn an even more powerful Echo of Varshan behind these sealed doors within the Malignant tunnels. It is worth noting that Cormond will give you a recipe for the Invoker of Varshan after you complete the Burning from Within questline, but if you want to use this farm, you can't complete that final quest. Since Varshan drops one of these Invokers every time he's defeated, you will also collect a good stash of them to use for the Foul Invokers of Varshan whenever you do find the recipe from the Echo. To craft the Foul Invokers of Varshan, you will need 50 Sigil Powder and 1 Invoker of Varshan. And that's all there is to farming Wrathful Hearts in Diablo 4 Season 1. For more guides and info, head on over to IGN's Diablo 4 wiki, and as always, for all things gaming, stick with IGN.